Welcome back everyone to another video, and today will be our first guide and our first look at the defenders. Now the defenders are one of my main roles in the game, and I have been playing defenders a while in all types of mobile games, not just Unite. There are similar rules like tankers, but defenders, I'll get to everything in this video, and I'll have gameplay in the background so you won't get bored. But yeah, let's get right into this guide. Why not, you know? First thing for defenders is choosing your defender. Now, there are many defenders, but in this gameplay in the background, I chose ᴛɪᴍᴇ괱ᴛᴍᴘ. ᴛɪᴍᴇ is a really good defender. I consider him one of the tankiest. And he has a lot of base HP. So you will see in this video that I use a mix between attack and defense items in this build. You know, because defenders, they don't really have that high of a damage output. So I'll put it up right here. And yeah, defenders are really meant to be tanky just so they can sustain in the front lines. You don't have to worry about doing damage. You just have to get the kills and zone off the enemies as a defender. Now, choosing your defenders is very important. So, that is number one. Now, we're going to talk about early game for defenders. The early lane phase is going to be one of the most important phases as any Pokemon in the game. Any role, you have to get this early game set up correctly. Now in this gameplay I have here, I am just doing as much damage as I can, trying not to extend too much. I know I can survive here because I got potion, as you can see, and I got focus band popping, so I will survive. But as a defender, you really just want to play a little passive with a mix of aggressiveness once your jungler is up top with you. And to be honest, I played the early game role kinda selfishly. I did take some EXP. Now, you don't want to take all the EXP, especially if your partner is an attacker. Attackers need that EXP. And that's what I want to talk about next. Giving your attackers or all-rounders some of your EXP. Now, you don't have to constantly farm. You just need to have enough levels to just sustain and just get your main movesets. Like, in this footage, I have Rock Tomb and Fury Cutter for, not that long. Because I was farming up, mostly. My teammate was farming with me, but he was a little behind. You could tell, because I'm about to turn level 5, and he is still level 4. Now, as a defender, laning with another defender, I had to play this really, really just aggressively and passively at the same time. I just farmed until I had my... what is it called? I forgot, but we don't talk about that. Anyways, I got my main skills, so I got my defending kit, and I'll have the skill pop up the screen right about now. And we're just gonna talk about how we just get this free KO. And as a defender early game, everything about your positioning and everything else is very important. We'll talk about the early game important mini objectives. These mini objectives are the Alterias. They spawn at 850 and 8. At 850, your mini birds will spawn in along, as well as in 720 or 730. I will have it up right now, just all the corrections. All the information will be up right now. And you will have to get this. You don't want your teammate, you don't want your enemies to be a higher level than you. Or, I'm sorry, enemies to be a higher level than you, because the higher their level makes it much, much more harder for you to stand out and survive. Now, you just want to get these Alterias because you need your levels. You specifically need your Unite. Now, all defenders level up at level 9 as the making of this video, of course. There might be new defenders in the future, but I'm not sure yet. Anyways, you're gonna need your levels. really bad. So you can just be that tanky motherfucker you always wanted to be. Be that one guy that's up top defending against 3 enemies at the last Ray fight. Wink, wink. Now, you have to do your best to zone the enemies. As you can see here, I kind of zoned his Wigglypuff. She played it really bad. Or he. I'm not judging. I'm not assuming, But you have to play it really carefully and zone the enemies. Now, as a defender, if you have CC skills like Rock Tomb, Telekinesis, even Surf, or Block, or anything, that will work to zone the enemies. You have to give your teammates as much time as you can so they can melt and shred that objective. If they don't shred it, oh well, that's just unfortunate. Now, I'm shredding on my own right here. It is really risky to do this, but if you have something called map awareness, you will tell that 2 of the enemies are fighting my teammates above me, and 3 are up top. That makes me that gives me the green light to just go for this objective because they're too busy. Now, I notice this happen a lot with newer players, not as much as veterans. Well, sometimes with veterans, people make mistakes all the time, but people are always in the action. They, when they fight in a battle, they will pay attention to that battle. They won't look at the map while they're battling, It's not a common thing. That's why you just have to use your opportunities, the chances you get while you are there to just do it. You just gotta do it. I literally shredded that objective when they weren't looking. That was huge for my team. If you don't know, the bottom Reggies give you EXP and levels. That is huge for a team. It's basically a Dreadnought, and it's finally getting some love. And next, we're going to talk about objectives. So, let's do that. There are 5 objectives in the game. The Regice, Regieleki, the Regirock, and Registeel. And then finally, the Rayquaza. These objectives can determine the tide of the game. And all of the objectives are equally important. Some are less important than the others, though. Now, we will be going over all of them. First, we have the Regice. The Regice gives you 20 points, and it grants your team EXP, HP recovery, and speed. Now, this is probably the worst objective besides the EXP among the bottom Reggies, because it gives you a speed boost. But that could be huge for speedsters that are invading. Wink, wink. Now, for this objective, I would not go for this objective over Reggie. Top Reggie, I mean. The only reason why is because it gives speed. And that lasts for about 90 seconds. Now, 90 seconds is a minute and 20, and a lot of things can change in that time. The reason why these bottom Reggies are so important now is because if you defeat, since they respawn every 3 minutes, if you defeat them before the Ray spawns, so let's say you defeat them at 220, you will have that buff for 90 seconds. That is huge. So, now we're going to talk about the other Reggies. The Registeel. The Registeel gives you 20 points, EXP, and increased attack and SP attack for 90 seconds. Now, this gives you the damage that you need for a team fight. It is huge for stealing objectives. Let's say it's the last 30 minutes, the Ray pops up, and a Gardevoir happens to be on your team. That Gardevoir could have extra damage to steal, which will be more of a guarantee to steal than any other Pokemon on the enemy team. Now, this objective I consider is way better than the Regice and Regieleki. The Regieleki deals damage, but it's easy to dodge, and it just gives you insta-score points. If you let it in, it won't really affect you that much. That's why it's not considered as stupid as it was compared to, everything else. Everything else finally has some recognition. It's kind of underrated. So that's why I think Registeel is something you should go instead of Regieleki. But that's just my personal opinion. If you have any other suggestions on what to do for these bosses, just let me know, because I'm not the best with the bosses. But next, we got Regirock. Now, Regirock is kind of the same like the rest of them, but way better. It gives you 20 points, EXP, and it gives them increased defense, SP defense, for 90 seconds. So, you will need this as a defender or as a squishy Pokemon in general. This boost could be really, really huge for mid-game. For late game, it's really good too. So this is why I consider the best objective right now. And people don't really know what all the Regis do. They just assume. So that's why I think people get this mixed up. But this is confirmed. It's on the wiki. You can search for yourself. And now we're going to go to the last chapter of this guide. And that is your positioning. Now, for your positioning as a tank, you want to be in the front line. You want to tank every single shot you can. So your attackers, your speedsters, even your all-rounders sometimes can stay nice and safe. Defenders are supposed to be tanky and be in the front of team battles. Those team battles are really, really crucial in team fights. Do not forget, people, you have to play your role as a defender. I did 115,000 damage. Now, that's gonna be it. But anyways, see you in the next tutorial.